Yes, guys, hello everyone, and welcome to the 9th episode of the Crystal Football Podcast. And well, this weekend was week number 7 in this week's Premier League fixtures. And well, let's just say we've had a fair few games along the way. We will get reaction to all the games. I'm going to put in highlights as well when I announce the games. All credit will be given, all highlights, everything about these clips will be given down in the description below, so go and subscribe to their channels as well as mine, because I do not own any of the clips. I will also put a disclaimer what I made in the description below. But yeah, week 7, one of the big stories as well to do with the top 6. Liverpool have extended their lead, but Manchester City have grabbed back. We'll get some more reaction to them. Manchester United against Arsenal we will get some reaction to later on as well. And Leicester, high-flying Leicester beating Newcastle, we will get reaction to there as well. We'll also talk about the Championship and the rest of the EFL and all of the top stories across Europe, including the Madrid derby, which I'll show you highlights to as well. So hopefully we are in for a bumper of an episode. So the main Premier League match was consisting of the leaders Liverpool, and they travelled to Sheffield United to see if they can keep up their 100% record. They slipped up in Europe, but they managed to beat MK Dons in the EFL Cup. Could they beat Sheffield United? Here are the highlights.
Van Dijk, wonderful ball through the middle. Is this the moment for Sadio Mane? The answer is no.
You'd put your mortgage on Mane hitting the target at least from here.
Can't pick it up. Wijnaldum. Here's the potential danger of a counter attack. 4 against 3. Salah, Firmino, and Sadio Mane hits the post. Firmino knocked away from him by Fleck. How have Liverpool not scored there?
Mane kept on side brilliantly, just to be able to finish it. He drags it onto the near post.
It's McBurney. Glorious opportunity for Sheffield United.
McBurney, who rose first, just doesn't quite get enough purchase on the ball to guide it into the net.
Here's Mane. Challenge from Lundstrom.
It's a lovely play from Robertson, isn't it? Just draws Basham out, and as he goes to ground, there's a clear penalty.
Stevens offers the additional support. Forward from Fleck. Stevens will get to that. Norwood. Awkward for the goalkeeper, who did well to react.
That might be hitting the post and in if Adrian doesn't get a solid hand to it.
Firmino. Robertson. Divock on the outside. Better ball in. Wijnaldum! Oh, Dean Henderson has spilt it, and Liverpool finally have the breakthrough with their first shot on target of the afternoon. You said he's quick. Not quite quick enough to cause Adrian significant problems there. Ball from Origi. Now O'Connell alongside Egan at the heart of the defence. Salah could be in here. It's Mo Salah. Good save. Got one of his stripes back there, Dean Henderson.
Well, he's definitely made amends there for his mistake earlier.
Fleck. Good ball in. Leon Clark. What a chance. That's Sheffield United's moment without a shadow of a doubt, and the veteran striker on his Premier League debut won't believe he hasn't scored.
So that was just a quick highlights then of Sheffield United against Liverpool, and to be fair, Liverpool, they did deserve it in the end. I think that they had enough chances in the end, but if you look at the chance at the end for Sheffield United, Leon Clark, I mean, you have to score that. I mean, you're not going to have chances like that against Liverpool and not, be having a chance to score, because to be honest, that is, 5-6 yards out. And really, it's just, the fact that he's missed it does underline Sheffield United's, I mean, no offence to them, their weakness in terms of up front. They haven't got a proven goal scorer that can score goals in the Premier League. I mean, yes, Billy Sharp can score goals. Yes, Ollie McBurney, 20 goals a season in the Championship. But they haven't really got, a real quality striker who knows the Premier League, who can score goals in the Premier League. And I think that might be their weakness. I do still think, however, that they're going to stay up. And I don't think there's any complaints, really, that they didn't score against Liverpool, because they did have chances. Liverpool, though, people are now saying, is this their year? I still think City will trump them. I do think the Champions League will take its toll. Look at Wolves. I mean, yes, they had a positive result today, but it's going to take a lot for Liverpool to ounce Manchester City. If they can, hats off to them, because they deserve it. I mean, the signing of Virgil van Dijk has revolutionised that club, and Liverpool are going to be finishing in second place, in my opinion. But it is going to go right down to the final day in the race for the title, as it did last season, really. But for Sheffield United, this is an opportunity missed. They had chances with McBurney, they had chances with Clark, and you could say it could have been 1-1. But it is what it is. Liverpool will most certainly take it after midweek fixtures in the last 2 weeks with the Champions League and, of course, the EFL Cup. But they're in the running for all the trophies. They're literally Manchester City without the money. They're in the running for all of the trophies. And I think that's what will really make this season much closer than we had last season or, years before. Moving on then. Bournemouth and West Ham. Two teams that are doing extremely well. West Ham have the chance to be on 14 points after today. Their game against Bournemouth. Here are the highlights.
Yarmolenko. Cresswell. Noble for Anderson. In towards Allaire. He did well to bring it down and to bring Yarmolenko into play. And there's a swivel and a strike! And a sumptuous goal! The feel-good factor continues at West Ham United.
There's the ball from Felipe Anderson. There's the excellent first touch, but look how he rolls Nathan Ake. And there, Aaron Ramsdale, no chance.
Harry Wilson's corner. King, Wilson again, back to Rico. There are plenty in there in stripes. Josh King picks up the scraps, but the flag halts the celebrations.
We need to go to Stockley Park, to Andrew Madley, to see whether or not that is a goal or not.
The decision is goal.
There's the ball from Rico. There's a little touch from Nathan Ake.
Yarmolenko, supported by Fredericks, who wants it. It's Fornals and Anderson, and it's a terrific save from Aaron Ramsdale.
Great reflexes from Ramsdale to push that ball over his crossbar.
Solanke, it's a nice run. It's King. It might fall for Wilson! What a start to the second half for Bournemouth. Callum Wilson catches the eye again. His sprightly start to the season continues. In from Felipe Anderson. Allaire is there. Just couldn't quite get the telling touch required. And there are plenty in the mix there, and Nathan Ake hits it and finds the target. But there is a late flag. No goal, offside. Felipe Anderson again.
Haller, Yarmolenko. Well, he was shaping to curl it. It just didn't quite bend enough for him. Fredericks. Yarmolenko. Looking for Anderson. And he's looking for Cresswell. Well, he's got a taste for it at the moment. It sat up nicely for him, and he rammed it home.
So then, Bournemouth 2, West Ham 2, and well, West Ham kind of needed a result after this, 100%, because of what happened in midweek. And well, let's be honest, I think any West Ham fan will want to forget the fact that they lost 4-0 away to a side that is 2 divisions below West Ham. So yeah, I'm not going to mention it anymore. But yeah, West Ham do look good, don't they? I mean, they could have, they could have won it, definitely. But, VAR going in their decision to rule out that Josh King goal that, for me, was offside. So it was a good decision on that. But West Ham, 12 points. And, are they maybe an outside tip for Europe? Me, personally, I don't think they are. Yes, they might have spent almost £70 million on Haller and Pablo Fornals, but still, I think that they're a little bit complacent. They don't really have any consistency. Look at last season; they didn't really had a run of wins going, and then it all came to an end. But I think with consistency, West Ham could challenge for top 6. But I think they'll miss out this season. Next season, if they make the right signings, for example, goalkeeper. Look at the goalkeeping position, because Fabianski, no disrespect to him, 100%, he is getting on a bit. He is a good keeper though. But of course we have Roberto, and he conceded 4 against Oxford. So I think to have a half decent backup goalkeeper that's a little bit younger could be a lot for West Ham. Spend 15-20 million on that, and then I think we could maybe go for it. So yeah, hopefully West Ham could keep the good run going, because it'll do a lot of confidence for the team. Bournemouth, they themselves went out in the EFL Cup as well to Burton Albion, who were in the Championship a few seasons ago. So a little bit embarrassing for them as well. But Bournemouth are definitely punching above their weight. I would expect them to be around about where Manchester United are, mid-table, around about there. So yeah, for Bournemouth to punch above their weight is pretty good. They've now got 5 points out of the last 3 games, so they're keeping that little unbeaten sequence going on. But yeah, Bournemouth, they're going well. They're a decent little team, and they've only lost they came back from 2 defeats in a row, and now they've got 5 points in 9 games. So it's a decent run of form, but I think Bournemouth should definitely be a little bit more consistent against the top sides as well, because with West Ham, they won against Manchester United last week. They kind of want to do the same if they want to, push forward in the next few years. Next, Tottenham Hotspur. They had a little bit of a dead Europa League, Champions League against Olympiacos in the EFL Cup. They managed to somehow bottle it against Colchester. Could they win against Southampton? Here are the highlights. Tottenham against Southampton coming for you next.
Højbjerg. Redmond. It's a fine save by Lloris to keep out Højbjerg. Excellent stop by Hugo Lloris. That was goal ban from Højbjerg.
Oh, very measured. Lovely first-time layoff there from Buffal. They get it wide. They've got 2 against 1 here. And he picks the right pass here, Nathan Redmond. He sees Højbjerg.
It's come out to Son. And this time, Ndombele makes sure. Tottenham in front. Tonga Ndombele makes the breakthrough. Winks was sure that the ball had gone out of play. And now Aurier, who has been cautioned already, is on his way to the dressing room. That's a second yellow card in quick succession for Serge Aurier. and Tottenham are down to 10 men.
Harry Winks clearly felt it had gone out, but the linesman is on that side. He's looking right down the line. Then we have this from Ori, who's wrong side here of Ryan Bertrand, but he's on a yellow card.
Oh, Lloris in trouble, and Ings has bundled the ball in. Southampton have an equalising goal. Well, Tottenham in big trouble.
He's got plenty of time here, Hugo Lloris, to launch this. Changes his mind here, goes for the drag back, and then he's in a real mess.
Son, Eriksson. Son again, Eriksson, now Kane! Tottenham back in front. Breathtaking from Spurs. And that's a magnificent save from Lloris to keep out James Ward-Prowse.
That's a terrific strike from James Ward-Prowse, and it's down at the quick feet here of Hugo Lloris to get across as quickly as he did. Just can't find the opening. Southampton recycling the ball continually, but most of the possession is passive. They're not hurting Tottenham.
Buffal, Ings.
Oh, what a chance. Ings is certainly onside as he tries to get round the back, and he can't quite get his right foot onto it.
So then Spurs then move up the table after that win against Southampton. But the big talking point was Hugo Lloris's error that was so comical. And, well, he cannot do any more errors. Not in the Champions League, not anywhere, because he did one in the World Cup final against Croatia, if any of you remember. He gifted a goal to Mandzukic. And then, now he's done it again against Southampton, and Danny Ings always seems to be the one that's pouncing on it. Adrian did it a couple of weeks ago, Danny Ings scored, and now, Lloris has done it and Danny Ings has scored again. But, Tottenham, even though they had 10 men, they still managed to get through it. And Spurs, despite losing to Leicester, they still look like a pretty good team. Even though they drew in the London derby, even though they lost to Newcastle, they're still a good team, and I think they will bounce back. But, if they do, this is a word of warning, by the way, if they do slip up in the Champions League, I think that will have a big effect. Because if you look at last season, they got to the Champions League final, but they lost 12 games last season in the Premier League and still managed third. If they lose a little bit less games in the Champions League, that will definitely, impact the squad in a better way, because, that means they'll be less focused on the Champions League and more focused on finishing as high as third, which I think they are going to finish. I think they are going to finish third this season. But Southampton, they lost against Bournemouth, but even though they won against Sheffield United, this is going to be a tough season for Southampton, and they didn't really create a lot. James Ward-Prowse had a few efforts from free kick, but still, I do see Southampton struggling, but they shouldn't sack their manager 100%, despite them losing today. Obviously, second defeat on the bounce, but they shouldn't lose today. They just need to fix up the defence, because they conceded the comical goal against Bournemouth, and they conceded with 10 men against Spurs. And I know Spurs are a quality side, but when you have one man extra in your team, theoretically you shouldn't really be conceding a goal and then not having the quality to get back into the game. But it is what it is. So then, Manchester City, the champions, begin their title defence against Everton. They travel away, and we'll see how we did. Here's highlights.
Mahrez again. Away by Yerry Mina, but only back to Mahrez. And City have missed a golden opportunity to go in front. Here's Walker. Lucas Across comes Fabian Delph to help out. Mahrez with the ball in, and there's the goal. Gabriel Jesus. Riyad Mahrez doing most of the work down that right-hand side. This is good build-up play by Everton, much better from the Blues. And it might just break their way inside the penalty area here. Coleman! Oh, he's chipped it over Ederson, and it's in! And that might be Dominic Calvert-Lewin's goal. Everton are back on level terms. What a response from the Blues. Excellent play from Seamus Coleman to just dink that ball over Ederson. Here's Mahrez. Mahrez with the ball through for Sterling, who's missed it. Sends it wide. Up he steps, and Pickford is beaten. Riyad Mahrez has beaten Jordan Pickford from that free kick outside the penalty area. City are in front again. Mina's there, it's kept out initially. How did that not go in? Dominic Calvert-Lewin with the follow-up as well. Mahrez on his left foot again, now his right. Aguero takes over. Sterling. Has that gone in? Sterling again. It has gone in. The referee confirms it. The signal was, it was over the line. Raheem Sterling has got the goal. That means Manchester City will most probably get all 3 points as well.
So then, Manchester City beating Everton by 3-1, and really, City should have been more ruthless at the very start. They should have scored a goal, but they didn't. They are still 5 points behind Liverpool, and as I said with Liverpool, I still think City will win the title. As for Everton, well, they just can't. They couldn't defend the Riyad Mahrez free kick that went in, because that's a really good free kick by Riyad Mahrez, and we've seen him do this for Leicester, score free kicks. But Everton now should really be thinking about whether Marco Silva is the right person for the job, because they have now lost 3 in a row. 3 in a row, 2 of them at home, to Sheffield United and Manchester City. And okay, Manchester City, you'd expect that. But Sheffield United, especially last week, you wouldn't have expected that. So, really, it's really time to make a decision, Everton. Are you going to stick with Marco Silva, or are you going to go with another manager, another experienced manager, who thinks that they could get you that top 6 that you've been trying to crack for at least the past decade? But for Manchester City, they roll on. They, of course, have the Champions League this week. So, yeah, hopefully they can do well with that. But Everton, as I said, I think they'll finish outside the top 6. 8th place for me is where Everton will finish. Leicester then, one of the surprise packages so far this season. They've got 3 wins, they're 11 points. If they can win this game against Newcastle, who desperately need a win, they've only had 1 all season, then they could go 3rd. Here are the highlights.
To Harvey Barnes. Vardy knows he's offside. Barnes keeps it going, and Dubravka able to save from the onrushing Perez, who very nearly wrote the headlines in the first couple of minutes. Strong run this from Ricardo, and he finds the bottom corner. In the mood this man's in, you let him run like that, then he will punish you. Tackle comes in, but it's too little too late. What a finish from Ricardo. Here's Barnes. Vardy lurking in the middle. Dubravka needed to come and make that. Here's Dennis Pratt. Excellent block to deny him. Winning back the ball. Continually pouring forward at this Newcastle side that's clinging on here. Joe Ellington. Longstaff couldn't take it in his stride. Strong challenge by Hayden. Might take a dim view of this one, Craig Pawson. He does. A red card for Isaac Hayden.
The VAR check is complete. The red card will stand.
Yeah.
Dennis Pratt. Well waited for Barnes, who looks for Vardy. Vardy will get there, and Vardy will score! Dubravka might question whether he could have kept it out, but there's no stopping Jamie Vardy, his fourth of the season. Here's Pratt deflecting it in.
You have to make the challenge, and that's just what can happen to you as a defender.
Albright. Into Vardy! A delightful delivery. And the simplest of finishes for Jamie Vardy. In by Chilwell, just behind Evans. Ndidi! High fives all round.
And put the lid on an excellent Leicester performance.
So that was Leicester against Newcastle. Leicester absolutely embarrassing Newcastle there, 5-0. Isaac Hayden got sent off as well to rub salt into the wound. And Newcastle, they look dead and buried now. It seems like a long time ago since they got that win away from home against Spurs. And how, I had my doubts that Steve Bruce, the Newcastle manager, I had my doubts that he kept them up. And I'd said he would, because he's a decent top-flight manager. Not the best, but decent. But really, Newcastle, they're in the bottom three. They're second from bottom. It's not going well for Newcastle. They really cannot play against teams like Leicester, against teams like Brighton, or, against other teams. But, they have had quite a tough fixture list. They've had Spurs, which they've overcome. They've had Arsenal. They've had, They've had Leicester, of course, and a few weeks ago they had Liverpool. So I guess that it hasn't been the easiest fixture list, but still, you can't go conceding 5 goals against Leicester. Great win for Leicester though. Jamie Vardy's on form, Ben Chilwell is on form. Look, everyone in that Leicester City squad is on form. If they don't get 7th, which does seem quite unlikely, I think they'll be 7th, but Leicester are the only team, in my opinion, that can break the top 6. They beat Spurs. They played decently against Manchester United. They held Chelsea away. They can do it. I think Brendan Rodgers, he's a winner. He's come close, with the league with Liverpool a few years back. And he's won things in Scotland. And I know people will say, yeah, but Chris, the Scottish Premiership is as easy as winning against your 5-year-old brother at FIFA. But still, there is a slight chance that Leicester could break into that top 6, makes miracles happen again, like they did with the Premier League title. But Newcastle look dead and buried. So I have no idea what to say for Newcastle. Either, I'm not saying you should sack Bruce, give him time for the next few games, but if he doesn't, win matches that you should be able to win, I think that's where he goes and he walks out. But it's, the fans, with Mike Ashley, who owns Newcastle, times on and out, even though, he spent 40 million on Joelinton, and Joelinton's only scored 1 goal this season, and that was against Spurs. So, he hasn't really lived up to expectations. But, Soyuncu at the back, replacing Harry Maguire like a treat. Isaac Hayden's red card was a red card and some, because that was a nasty challenge. And he was never going to get away with it, in my opinion. So then, promoted side, Aston Villa. Can they get their second win of the season against Burnley at home? Let's have a look. Here are the highlights of the game.
Peters with a cross. Oh, and it was just
a whisker away. One had risen, but couldn't make the connection. Harahan to Grealish. Harahan! Incredibly close.
Struck it beautifully, bent it round.
Grealish. Harahan, low and hard. Wesley can't get there, but McGinn can.
Well, Means asking for offside, isn't he?
Well, everything will be checked. We're going to stop the play here to see when the ball is played. Yep, he's offside. Gilbert with some workspace. Great ball in, needs the touch. Oh, what a touch it was! El Ghazi. Check that one out.
Some finish that was, but I'll tell you what, Sean Dyche will be looking again at Peters. He does nothing to close the man down.
One of the secrets of the success of Sean Dyche's team, and success is, of course, remaining in the Premier League, being in the top half of the starters of today's play, is the consistency. Barnes, McNeil gets the cross in. Oh, brilliant! A high-flying Rodriguez.
What a header. Tapped it beautifully. That's how to attack a cross like that.
Goes nicely for Wesley. More players down on the floor. Big chance here for Grealish. Always rising.
Just take a little bit off it, hit the target, make the keeper work. But that's comfortable. It's a long way over.
Trezeguet. Nice feet. Makes the angle for the cross. They got it. Check that, he says. Again. But McGinn is not holding back his celebrations.
He makes sure he gets a side foot on, keeps it low. Keepers hate it round the feet. In off the legs.
Now the onus is on Burnley to attack and chase the equaliser. That's a decent ball in. What is there? They get the equaliser with a matter of a minute or so. When is the time when you're most likely to concede? Just after you're scored.
So then that was Aston Villa necking a 2-2 draw with Burnley at home. And well, really, it was a game of two halves, really, because Burnley didn't really look like a threat, going up front in the first half, but then they did in the second half. Goals from Jay Rodriguez managed to help save a draw. But for Aston Villa, will they feel hard done by that VAR decision? I don't know personally. I think it was the right decision for me. But yeah, it's a big point for Aston Villa in their fight for survival, because they're down in the bottom 5 or so, I think. But for Burnley, they could see that as an opportunity missed, but I think judging on their first half performance, wasn't the greatest. So I think you could say that both these teams were quite lucky to get a point in a certain way. But I think it won't be enough. I still think Aston Villa will get relegated. Burnley will finish mid-table. Sean Dyche has done well with the side, and Jay Rodriguez coming back, it's a real confidence boost, because that's where he started his career, and for him to get 2 goals there, it's pretty something special. But yeah, hopefully Burnley, who won against Norwich as well, they're now on a run of 5 points out of a possible 9, so the same record as Bournemouth that I mentioned a few minutes ago. But for Aston Villa, every point matters for them in their fight for survival. Elsewhere in the Premier League, Crystal Palace beat Norwich City by 2-0. Luka Milivojevic and Andros Townsend scoring the goals to help Palace stay in the top half of the table. They've done really well, Palace, so far. They themselves now have gone a win and a draw in their last 2 matches. But for Norwich, ever since they beat Manchester City, it's been a bit downward. They didn't really have a lot to show against Burnley. They didn't really have a lot to show against West Ham. And they didn't really have a lot to show again here against Crystal Palace. So they will struggle for sure. Wolves, they got their first win of the season at Watford at home. That was a really big win for them because they did struggle a little bit in Europe and they managed to beat Reading only on penalties, so they needed that. But for Watford, they are just hopeless, are they? They can't score a goal. You know, they haven't, I don't even know how many games they've gone without a clean sheet. They've minus 16 goal difference, so they're conceding goals left, right and centre. Their back line is as old as my grandparents, so yeah, it's worrying times for Watford. But Quique Sanchez-Flores is a good manager. He, of course, was manager of Watford a few seasons back. I think he'll help them stay in the top flight comfortably. But I think if they don't win the next few games, they should be worried. They really should. Now, on to Manchester United against Arsenal. A win for either side will put them back in the race for the top six. And, well, it's safe to say, hopefully, we get an entertaining game. Here are the highlights of that game.
Three against two. It's in by Pereira.
Great
Maguire
header.
made a movement from the middle around to the back.
It's a great header from Socrates.
A slip by Pereira. Saka got a bit to do here. And following up is Guendouzi. And David De Gea gets across to make it a double save.
Saka's against him. He decides to take the shot. De Gea can't push it wide enough. But he really does get up quickly.
Break might be on again. Pereira for speedy Dan James. Left Guendouzi, and it's just too far ahead of Rashford. Pogba's there, McTominay's there, and scores!
Rashford's thought he had the goal, and he just sticks it back towards the edge of the box towards Pogba. But it's his mate, McTominay. And you talk about confidence. Well, he takes one touch, rolls it out of his feet and hits it.
And here's Aubameyang of all people, and he doesn't miss. But the flag is up. Now this will be referred.
Oh, he's onside.
It's 1-1. Aubameyang again has come to the rescue. And here comes Callum Chambers, and Arsenal are in again.
Oh, he must score.
Saka.
He's played well, Saka, but will he regret that missed chance?
Rashford. Oh, and it's a great save by Leno. Oh, and a swing and a miss from Greenwood. Would it have gone in?
I think it would.
Yeah,
He holds his nerve.
definitely would.
Leno.
So then that was the Manchester United against Arsenal game, and to be fair, United and Arsenal played out a little bit of a drab 1-1 draw. I mean, there was goals, but it was kind of drab. The real talking point about that is Manchester United. They've made their worst start to a Premier League season in, I think, 30 years. And this will definitely, worry Manchester United fans, because I had them as, a team that would finish in the Europa League. Because, the squad, they've lost Lukaku for 75 million, Sanchez left on loan. So it's going to, affect their squad. But the emergence of Mason Greenwood could excite Manchester United fans. It's his 18th birthday today, so wish him a happy birthday. But, I think Manchester United just need that quality in midfield and up front, because Lukaku, he was falling out under the manager, but he's a proven goal scorer. I mean, we've seen that at the time at Everton. Anthony netted 20 goals a season in his first season at United. So why the manager didn't, view him as an integral player, I have no idea. And Sanchez, if you're on £500,000 a week at the time, you are going to be an influential player, no matter what. So I think they will find it hard to replace, and United really should look for a striker in the January transfer window, because Greenwood and Rashford are the only two strikers at the club. They need a third striker. No disrespect to Greenwood, but I don't think he's going to be ouncing Marcus Rashford from the starting 11. They need a quality striker. They've been linked with Mandzukic, so I don't know if that move will happen. But for Arsenal, they've got a good array of talent coming through. They've got the likes of Saka, Joe Willock as well. But I think for Arsenal, they do need to take their chances, especially the Guendouzi chance at the first half. They do need to take that one. But Aubameyang is on a roll. I mean, are we really surprised considering his goal-scoring form over the past few years? But also Arsenal, they do need to, have a little bit more confidence in them, because Nicolas Pepe doesn't seem that confident. He's a big money signing, and he is a good player. I mean, you don't score 20 goals and have over 10 assists in the French league if you haven't got something about you. But, he just seems a little bit devoid of confidence. The Liverpool game, where Arsenal, I think, lost, was by far his best performance, but they still didn't really manage to get anything out of it. So, the manager needs to talk to him, needs to, build his motivation up. Tell him he's a good player. He's, doing everything right. It's just that he's unlucky a little bit with the run of results that is going and the morale of the team. But, for Arsenal, should they be worried? I don't think so. I think they'll still, find enough room to scrape into the top six, because, the emergence of their talent is going to be quite exciting for Arsenal fans. But, this is the future. Saka did well in the Europa League. Willock did well in the Europa League. So this is exciting times for Arsenal. But they do need to think about, killing teams off like Manchester United, like Spurs, because if you get 2-2 draws, it's not really going to be a sign of significance. Anyway, in the Championship, the key game was Stoke versus Nottingham Forest. Here are the highlights of that game.
Atebo. This is Tom Ince, slipping the ball through nicely, looking at Gregory Sambers away from home. Gregory denied a yard from the goal line, his first goal for Stoke City. Lucas and Atebo standing over this. Atebo's gone for goal and forced Brice Samba into action. Martin Zindi makes his way towards the far post. He was the target. Sent back in with interest and lashed home brilliantly. Lee Gregory with the strike. Stoke City score. The nerves blasted away. Stopped in his tracks, Joe Lolly. Now Sambaso. Rabin waiting, Butland tries to get to it. Joe Lolly finishes off. Butland tried to get to it, but couldn't. And Joe Lolly made no mistake. A ruthless finish. There's Lolly, now Cash. Amiobi coming in. It's a towering header. 3,000 Forest fans celebrate. It's the moment Stoke City feared. They're on the floor again. Amiobi has stolen the ball back. Amiobi's cross, Lolly waiting. Lolly, Silva, Graben! The top of the championship is in sight. Edwards plays that ball in, and there is the moment that Stoke City were waiting for. Nottingham Forest plant their flag at the Championship summit. Forest go top, but this stadium has fallen again.
So then Stoke lost once again. What does this mean for Nathan Jones? Well, it means trouble. Stoke are a promotion contender, and for them not to be right up there in the top, top 3 or 4 or whatever in the Championship, it's a blow. It really is. If he doesn't win this next game, I think Stoke should sack him. I really do. I don't think he's brought anything to the team. So, yeah, sack him. Whereas for Nottingham Forest, they're going great guns, are they? Doing well. And, hopefully they can, book a return to the playoffs, because I haven't seen them in the playoffs in a long time. Elsewhere in the Championship, the key results: West Brom winning 2-0 away to QPR. Charlton, still going well. 1-0 against Leeds. Derby 3, Birmingham City 2. Hull City 2, Cardiff City 2. Middlesbrough 1, Sheffield Wednesday 4. Preston 3, Bristol City 3. And Swansea City 1, Reading 1. So, that is the championship done. The big game in Europe was the Madrid derby between Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid. Here are the highlights of that game.
In front of a record crowd at the Wanda Metropolitano, Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid squared off in the derby on Saturday night. It was a big game with the big chances for both sides. Joao Felix had an early one that he dragged wide, whilst Toni Kroos decided to have a go from distance, which Jan Oblak was able to get down to. Another opportunity for Joao Felix, another shot around the left post. The Portuguese, though, certainly showing willing in his first official derby against the old enemy Real Madrid. Toni Kroos unleashed another shot from distance, which Oblak was able to meet. As the first half ended in a stalemate, the second half saw this chance, one of the best, from Saul as he flicked it on at the near post. It nearly dropped in at the back post. Luka Modric was brought on during the second half, around about midway through, played a crossfield ball. It was sent back into the area and Karim Benzema met it true with a header. Jan Oblak, though, with a sturdy left hand, was able to keep it out. And the game ended goalless. The final score, Atletico Madrid 0, Real Madrid 0.
So then, Real Madrid against Atletico Madrid ended goalless. My opinions on this, well, if I'm honest, I don't think Real Madrid will win the La Liga for me. Joao Felix and Eden Hazard, the two big 100 million signings for both clubs, haven't really got going as yet, so hopefully they can in the next few weeks. But for me, Real Madrid will finish in second place. They don't have enough quality. Losing Ronaldo a few years ago clearly hit them big time. But for Barcelona, they won this weekend as well. They're winning the league as they did last season. And I'm predicting the next few years are going to be dominated by Barcelona in Spain. I don't think there's going to be any competition. Atletico Madrid will probably be third or fourth because they've lost a key essential part of their back line in Godin, Luca Hernandez, and a few others that I can't remember. But yeah, this is just a rehabilitation season for Atletico Madrid. But fair play, holding Real Madrid, their rivals, at home. So yeah, hopefully those two clubs can kick on. Obviously the Champions League is tonight, so hopefully they can get a good result. So then, in the rest of the EFL fixtures in League 1, we have Ipswich beating Tranmere Rovers by 4-1. Oxford, who beat West Ham in the EFL Cup, beat Gillingham 3-0. Peterborough United won against Wimbledon 3-2. Portsmouth beat Bolton 1-0. And also Accrington Stanley beat Southend 1-0. Who, by the way, Southend, Henrik Larsson could be in the running for the manager's job. So watch out for them. In League 2, Carlisle won at Oldham. Cheltenham Town drew with Crewe. Exeter, the league leaders, lost at home to Grimsby 3-1. Leyton Orient and Port Vale drew 3-3 in a draw. Macclesfield and Colchester drew. And Salford got absolutely rammed by Forest Green Rovers 4-0. So then that is it for this week's podcast, this week's episode. If you did, leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new. And as always, I'll talk to you in a while.